Epistasis. Epistasis is a kind of gene interaction. Two genes are interacted in epistasis and one gene is responsible for the expression of the characteristic, while either dominant or recessive allele of the other gene inhibits the expression of the characteristic. When the dominant allele suppresses the characteristic, it's called dominant epistasis, and when the recessive allele suppresses characteristic, it's called recessive epistasis. Recessive epistasis. Some ratios that can be resulted due to recessive epistasis are 2 phenotypes with 9:7 ratio, or 3 phenotypes with 9:4:3 ratio, or 3:3:2 ratio. Dominant epistasis, 2 phenotypes with 13:3 ratio, or 3 phenotypes with 12:3:1 ratio, can be resulted in dominant epistasis. The two genes are complementary in recessive epistasis, while the two genes are antagonistic in dominant epistasis. Let's clarify the phenomena, recessive epistasis further, by solving a problem related to recessive epistasis. Question number 30, 2007 Advanced Level Biology Sri Lankan Syllabus. When two plants producing white flowers were crossed, all the F1 plants produced red flowers. And two phenotypes were obtained when these F1 plants were self-pollinated to obtain the F2 generation. 179 plants of the progeny produced red flowers and 141 plants produced white flowers. The flower color in these plants would have been inherited 1. By polygenic inheritance, 2. By two genes complementing each other, 3. By two alleles showing incomplete dominance, 4. By two genes which are acting antagonistically, 5. By two linked genes. Explanation. The inheritance of the flower color of the given example seems to be recessive epistasis, as the transmission of flower color in Lathyrus odoratus. The main evidence for the assumption is the ratio of the two phenotypes obtained in F2 generation 179:141. That is 9:7. Such a ratio is usually obtained in recessive epistasis. Let's clarify this phenomenon further. If we indicate the two genes as R and C, R represents the gene that produces red color and C represents the gene that controls the expression of the color. Homozygous dominant or heterozygous condition of the allele R produce red flowers, when the homozygous or heterozygous alleles of C are with M. Accordingly, there should be at least one dominant allele of both the genes to express the color. Therefore, the minimum necessity to get colored flowers is heterozygous genotypes of both the genes. That is capital C simple C capital R simple R. On the other hand, when the gene that controls the color is in homozygous recessive condition, that is simple C, it hinders the color though the gene for color is either homozygous dominant, that is capital R or heterozygous capital R simple R, producing white flowers. Possible genotypes for white flowers. Plants with this genotype produce white flowers, since the gene for color is homozygous recessive, though the gene that controls the expression of color is homozygous dominant. Plants with this genotype also produce white flowers, since the gene for color is homozygous recessive, though the gene that controls the expression of color is heterozygous. Plants with this genotype produce white flowers, since the gene that controls the expression of color is homozygous recessive, though the gene for color is homozygous dominant. Plants with this genotype produce white flowers, since the gene that controls the expression of color is homozygous recessive, though the gene for color is heterozygous. Plants with this genotype produce white flowers, since both the genes are homozygous recessive. Accordingly, there are 4 genotypes for red flowers. There are 5 genotypes for white flowers. According to the given example, both the mother plants produce white flowers, but they produce red flowers when crossed. It can be explained this way. Possible genotypes for white flowers. Some of these 5 genotypes produce red flowers when crossed. Let's observe one of these crosses further in detail. Let's clarify the results of F1 and F2 generations of the cross, in the given question, according to the behavior of chromosomes and alleles, that we study in genetics. Chromosomes, alleles. Gametes produced in F1 generation. Random fertilization of gametes, and formation of F1 progeny. All F1 plants produce red flowers. And all the plants are heterozygotes. 2 phenotypes are obtained with 9:7 ratio, when these F1 members are self-pollinated. Chromosomes. Gametes produced in F2 generation. Formation of F2 generation, by crossing F1 plants. 9 red-flowered plants, 7 white-flowered plants. Accordingly, the inheritance given here does not represent either polygenic inheritance or incomplete dominance. The two genes are complementary and they are not antagonistic, and the 4 alleles of the 2 genes are located on separate chromosomes, and they are not linked. Only the second answer is correct, therefore, answer 2. Let's do another question, related to epistasis, to enhance the experience. Question 29 2009. In a plant species, fruits can be either red or yellow. Both these types can be obtained as pure lines. When 2 plants with yellow fruits were crossed, all F1 plants produced red fruits. When F1 plants were inbred, F2 progeny had 27 plants producing red fruits, and 21 plants producing yellow fruits. Which of the following statements is incorrect, with regard to this inheritance? 1. Color of the fruits could be produced by the interaction of 2 genes. 2. This is an example for epistasis. 3. Dominant alleles of 2 genes may be necessary to produce red color. 4. All plants with red fruits of F2 progeny could be pure lines. 5. All plants with yellow fruits of F2 progeny may not be pure lines. You may realize that this question is also similar to the one we discussed above. Let's clarify this inheritance too. Possible genotypes for plants that produce yellow fruits. Possible genotypes for plants that produce red fruits. These 2 genotypes out of the 5 genotypes will produce red fruits when crossed, as given in the question. Let's see the results of the 2 crosses done to get the 2 generations, that is F1 and F2, in the given example. Plants that produce yellow fruits. Gametes are formed as the same manner discussed above. Random fertilization of gametes and formation of F1 progeny. All the F1 plants produce red fruits when 2 plants that produce yellow fruits are crossed. And all the plants are heterozygotes, formation of F2 generation by crossing F1 plants. Plants that produce red fruits. Nine plants with red fruits. 7 plants with yellow fruits, accordingly. Since the inheritance represents recessive epistasis, statements 1, 2, 3 and 5 are correct. But the 4th statement is incorrect, because only 1 plant with red fruits of F2 progeny represent a pure line, since it bears homozygous dominant alleles for both the genes. The correct answer is 4. Therefore, we discussed 2 examples of recessive epistasis, which gives 9:7 ratio. By this video, we will discuss about the recessive epistasis, which gives ratios 9:4:3 and 3:3:2 by another 2 videos. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more such videos.